it's a little mysterious to me now when I think back on it, about how all that could happen. I was living in New Jersey. I was interested in acting, and I had a friend of mine who today is a very good, accomplished, his name is Brandon Boyce, and he's an accomplished screenwriter. He lived down the street, and he was interested in acting. And I'd had this experience on St. Joan that was really powerful. The performing of it was fine, you know, I had a couple lines and that was neat, but being around the adult actors and listening to them in the rehearsal room talk about Joan of Arc and break down George Bernard Shaw and really study that play, I became it didn't seem like a job. It was so much fun. And, you know, I've been watching my parents, they worked really hard and their life seemed to be happening on the periphery. You know, most of their day was spent at work, and then they would try to live a little bit, a couple hours a day. And these people got to do like the best part of life all the time. And it was really interesting to me watching them rehearse. So this kid lived down the street, and he was cool, and he used to go into New York on auditions. And so I asked my mom if I could go on some auditions, and as long as it didn't cost any money, it was fine. And so I didn't have any headshots or anything, so I just tagged along with Brandon. And one of them ended up being for Joe Dante's Explorers, and at the time that was a really big deal. They were doing this nationwide search. He had just done Gremlins,
which is huge.
You know, so Explorers, you know, it was supposed to be this giant movie, you know. I was, you know, the needle they found in the haystack. I was supposed to be this huge coming out party, and I was going to be, you know, the little, you know, the Justin Bieber of the moment. But I failed miserably, and I went from being the coolest kid in school, I was like, oh, he's got a part in a movie, to like, you're a loser, dude. That movie was terrible. And it was really, I like to say it was the greatest lesson in the arts I could have possibly had at the age of, you know, I got the part when I was 13, I did it when I was 14. Jeez. And, but I had the real experience of unbelievable hype. Right. And then, you know, for years afterwards, I would have this reoccurring nightmare that they were remaking Explorers without me. You know, that it was like, basically they just decided the fundamental problem was me. And so River Phoenix is in the movie, and Joe Dante was a brilliant director, and they were all just doing it without me, and I went to the premiere and met the new kid. This is in my dream. And so I kind of had enough of acting for a little while. Yeah.
You broke your foot, if I'm not incorrect.
Well, River broke my foot. Yeah, no, I did. I broke my foot on the production. We stole River's dad's motorcycle, and I crashed it. But it was really important to River that nobody find out that we were riding the motorcycle, which was really hard to do because my foot hurt a lot. So he kind of put me in the garage. I was supposed to have a sleepover at his house, you know, and he had made me stay in the garage. And then finally I was like, man, I think my foot really hurts. Like, I think I need to see a doctor or something. And then we got in so much trouble, and they had to stop shooting. It was a learning lesson.
It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
So you go to college, and then you hear about this part.
Dead Poets Society?
For Dead Poets Society. And your parents weren't too thrilled.
They were doing big casting calls for Dead Poets Society, and my name, you know, there's this kid, he did the little thing, and, you know, you might want to meet him. And so I came in to audition. I left, I was at school at Pittsburgh, and I left to come in and audition for it.
And you get the part in Peter Weir's Dead Poets Society. Which
was an amazing experience.
Can you talk about the shoot and how all that unfolded for you? What do you remember about that the most?
Well, if you'd asked me that question a year ago, I would have probably said one thing. But now, in, you know, whatever it is, late September of 2014, it's hard not to think about it all in the context of Robin and his passing. But Robin Williams went up on stage, or he was in the classroom, and he wrote on the chalkboard, "I sound my barbaric yawp over the rooftops of the world," which is from a Walt Whitman poem, of course. And I proceeded to have my first real experience acting with him, who was an incredibly interesting person. I mean, well, everybody knows that he's a comic genius and everything like that, but he was also a Juilliard-trained actor and had a tremendous love and respect for the whole profession. And he was not the heavyweight in the room. You know, the heavyweight in the room was Peter Weir, this Australian director who I admired wildly. And so there's these two men who were much older than me and were in the height of their powers. They were fully mature artists, giving me this experience.
But he also had a very humorous side. I've heard you make an analogy, or one of the things that he would say when you guys would get your checks.
Oh, carpe per diem? Yeah. He's certainly funny. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that.